But I think too, like that awareness of it probably increases as you get older. Like,
Yeah, it's easier to get I get. Well, yeah, I guess it's just I don't know. I can't. I wish. I hope. Like, I probably wonder if I should even talk about it. Because I knock on wood. So far so good. But every once in a while, it's hard for me to stay focused or whatever, or over the years, it like goes in waves.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be related to drugs. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not, and it's just not the most reliable person I know.
But I would say too that that's also you following the energy of whatever is in you or around you, kind of like a well witch. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I feel like that. I've never been able to get away from that, and it's been more of a problem probably than a benefit. That has been something. Like, I've been to doctors about it. There just doesn't seem to be anything that anyone's going to be able to do about it, and I'm even aware of it. And I wish it wasn't true. But it's something, with, like, it just, like, it stammers me to even talk about. It's the thing I'd change if I could sometimes, but
you wouldn't be you if you tried to change it. You know what I mean? Like, there are people that go to your shows because they know, in a good way, how vulnerable you are to the audience and the grand scheme of things and what you're trying to channel.
Yeah, I hope there does, like, just even hearing you say that, there are some people that encourage me, like, even the band, like, there's a band called the Hardworking Americans, and I
love them. I've seen you guys. You're absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you. I think David likes that, and there's other people that always thought it was cool. Or, we're fine with it. Like Brian, my tour manager, is fine with it. He just looked over here and went, "No, I'm not." But no, you're kind of, well, whatever, fuck.
Now, in terms of stream of consciousness, would it be too much to surmise that you walk out the door and just go wherever the energy takes you, even on a day off?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Get in the car. Like Jerry Jeff used to talk about it. Jerry Jeff Walker, same way, 73 years old. Just can't. Fuck, if you pull up next to him and say, "Get in," he does.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like
why not?
You remember those old Family Circus cartoons where, like, they follow the path of the kids through the neighborhood?
Yes, that's right.
That's the way I feel sometimes.
Yes, I agree. Well, that's funny. We have a lot in common in that way.
But that's the fun of life.
And I know there's a lot of singers there. I know a lot of singers like that.
Well, and you've always talked about how important, like, in terms of Jerry Jeff and Christopherson and John Prine and those guys. But I feel too, like, when I've interviewed folks over the years, like Rodney Crowell and Marty Stewart and those guys, they always said the key to where they found not only inspiration but their craft was to be close to the source.
Right. And so, that does mean it's like, chase the wind.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that. It's an interesting. It's a cool. It's like, especially that one, the Rodney and the guy and the Erlen. That's a whole that's like a family. It's like the opposite of a fraternity, but there's that's a group of people that really look out for each other and help each other and listen to each other and all that.
And in the
Guy Clark was a real leader.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, that's the common ground between all of y'all is Guy Clark, especially.
Yeah, and he was definitely somebody who, made a zigzaggy path through the neighborhood every day.
Was his recording with the Hardworking Americans, with you guys, was that his last recording?
It sure was.
What do you remember about that experience with him?
I remember the band being excited to meet him and being. I think they were really impressed with how glad he's just not excited to meet everybody. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't going to do that. And I like to think that our band is a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But like it's not a lot of false energy just on account of the big meeting going on in our little group.
Yeah.
And and Guy Clark just won't do that for you. And I think the guys really liked that. He came in and it was very musical, and then he gave Dave a bunch of, he identified right away that Dave was the leader and started picking on him, which Dave really liked a lot. People don't really do that you know what I mean? He doesn't get that flirted with much, and so they had a really good time, I thought, and then I knew that he wasn't doing great, but and I knew that he had already kind of come to terms with what was going on, but he was a tough guy, like he just was. He never really let on that.
Yeah,
just wasn't something he talked about. He didn't talk about it.
What's
the last time I saw him, he just talked about the songs he was working on, and a week later he was gone, or soon after.
Since you've turned 50, what surprised you the most about that age milestone and maybe your thought process these days?
Let's see. It gets harder to do stuff just physically, and you get, like, my dad only made 54, so that gives me a couple of years, I guess. I think people always kind of have that earmarked. But on the other hand, like, I got into gardening a lot last year, and things that take patience, I'm starting to find that I can do. I finally learned to play lead guitar. So I guess I wouldn't call myself a patient person, but as I get older, I'm getting more patient and taking on hobbies that aren't, more so immediate or whatever. Like,
Well, and I would surmise too that those other hobbies are also, in some weird way, come back to the music. You know what I mean? Like where you're at and what you're creating. And
yeah, I agree. I appreciate that. Thank you. I agree, and feels like, I don't know, as older you get, the more I wonder, how many songs is one person supposed to make up, and you sort of wait and see. They don't really come all at once or anything, but if I had another one, I have 9 of them now. But that doesn't mean they're, I don't know, that's the list now. But a couple months ago, I thought I had 12 or 13, and some of them just haven't held up.
Well, my final question is, what is a life creating and performing and touring the world and interacting with all walks of life? What has that taught you about what it means to be a human being?
Oh, man, good one. I should thank you for calling me, man. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
I think, most of the stuff, especially in the early days of really, really being in a lot of places at once, like traveling really hard and dealing with a lots of people I especially feel like John Prine is the person that I've witnessed in my life be the most like somebody you'd want to pattern yourself after on stage and off. And I think that he really puts a high price on vulnerability and compassion. He sort of exudes those things and then tries to gravitate towards them too, and sort of seems to naturally move away from that places where that's not what's cooking.
Yeah.
And so he's been the person I most try to copy, because he seems to be the his thing with his muse is I guess is the word that you call it. I don't know if, like, people love it, and that's a good part of it, but that's in that, and maybe the idea that that's not the point of it. I don't think, but it's hard to describe. The point of it is closer to. Have you ever heard of, like, Colonel Bruce Hampton?
Oh yeah.
I think that he had sort of an absurdist mentality to everything that reminds. There's I guess. Well, anyway, I'm
well, like, not
feels
well,
like
no,
from a
like,
distance it seems, yeah.
Yeah, like, don't take yourself too seriously, but at the same time, be aware of the talent you have and possess it.
Yeah, that's what good way to put it. Yeah, and I feel like that's a hard surf, but or it can be, or I've seen a lot of people, they'll get really bit by the there's so many other things to get bit by, but the main one, I suppose, is the idea that you're going to get someplace.
Yeah.
Or that, what is it? Like the band, the hardworking American motto: "Go nowhere, do nothing, be nobody." Well, that's straight out of the book of Bruce Hampton, and I feel like John Prine is the most black belt I've ever seen at that.
Well, I thank you so much.
Besides Colonel Bruce.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, and, like, the way Bruce went out, I mean, you want to talk about the ultimate theatrics.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was bona fide magic.
Yeah.
That was an unreal force of nature. And, boy, as hard as that was for the crowd, what a finish.
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Do you remember the last time, or what you had said to each other the last time you talked to him?
Yeah, he gave me a high one and said, I gotta, and we touched fingers, and he said, I gotta go finish this.